And welcome to another episode of the Fuck Around and Find Out podcast. Today's episode is the long-awaited, often talked about, and put off again and again episode about the marijuana cultivation.
Nutty trying to do it again.
Nutty. He Micro Nutty. He yeeted out on us as usual. He keeps doing that.
Man.
Damn it!
He's a busy man.
It's not like it's. Did Tuesday sneak up on him? God damn it!
Idle Tuesdays and fuckers will get you every time.
Every single time. He decided to go rescue a friend with a pop tire in the middle of the desert or some shit. I don't know.
In the woods with some Brokeback Mountain.
Yeah, that sounds about right. Yeah, just a little Brokeback Mountain-y. Well, fantastic. So, kind of today's episode, we're going to try to talk about from start to finish with the whole cultivation, from seed selection, strain selection, the difference between.
Wait. One thing before we start the weed, you guys see that bullshit in Australia?
No, what's going on in Australia?
That lady tried to kill 8 people with poisonous mushrooms, and she actually killed 3 people.
Oh, I heard about that. It's been a while back, but yeah.
This is some Michael news. This is some good news.
She said it was an accident.
Yeah. Her name's like Erin Patterson. She has like 5 attempted murder and 3 murder charges.
She should get worse than that. Come on, man.
Was that last year in Montana? The sushi restaurant guy killed 4 people with morel mushrooms.
Well, the false morels, or which was it?
No, they were real morels, but they were. He served them raw.
Ooh.
Yeah, uncooked. Uncooked mushrooms are not a good thing, people.
No, there's a lot of things that are pretty toxic until you cook them, like potatoes.
Morels contain trace amounts of a chemical called hydrazine. False morels contain a larger amount of it, which you can cook it out of them.
Yeah.
It's not a good idea to serve morels raw in case anybody. Morel season's upon us. That's a good thing to tell people, I guess.
Well,
yes, it is the same thing as hydrazine bombs. It's the same stuff, but don't go try and get it out of the mushrooms.
Wait, you can make a morel bomb.
Write that down.
Yeah, hold on. That's some good shit. Morel bombs. Yeah.
I won't know how you would go about extracting it, but yes, it's the same stuff as a hydrazine bomb.
Well, lima beans are quite toxic by themselves until you cook them. Like a lot of things are pretty toxic. Come on, like we're all pretty big fans of like plant defense hormones, right, and chemicals. So like what nicotine is a plant defense, caffeine is a plant defense, THC, psilocybin, they're all like plant defense like chemicals. It's just the humans are like, let's try all these different fucking shit that's supposed to kill like grazing animals and little things that could be hurting the plant and bugs and shit. And we're like, whoa, that's fucking amazing.
That's why I don't understand why there are so many vegetarians. Shouldn't they be dead? I mean, they should be. I just don't understand how they.
Well, back in the day, there were not a lot of vegetarians, specifically because most of the stuff that we eat these days, we have bred the toxins out of them. Like the original watermelon was really pretty fucking toxic. Like potatoes, for example, the green parts of potatoes, they're still really toxic. And just like regular potatoes raw, you see people eat them sometimes raw, but they're quite toxic. They'll kill dogs. So you gotta those raw beans, quite toxic.
Great poison.
Yeah.
Corn, way back in the day, unprocessed corn was quite toxic. Wheat still kills people if it's not treated right with ergot. And
I want to say this: corn has absolutely no nutritional value. Correct?
It used to. Well, it has carbohydrates and sugars, so it's not much different than eating a fucking candy cane.
Right. What I'm saying is, you can say that and eat it, and that I'm a vegetarian and I'm on a diet. But I mean,
well, sweet corn will give you some nutrients. Like field corn you see everywhere. No, nothing. The only people that can process that are farm animals or ruminant animals.
Yeah, the
that's
fucking
called
cows
dent
and
corn.
shit.
Yeah.
Yeah,
but it's
flint
ruminants.
Yeah,
break all your teeth out of your head trying to eat it anyway. So
Right.
well, the dent corn you can process that with nixtamalization, and turn it into hominy and stuff, and that is just where you soak it in lye water or like wood ash
it
water.
pretty much.
Yeah, and that changes the profile of it, and that makes it nutritious. But like flint corn, it'd be like your field, like your hard field corn that you can't even grind to make flour, that you feed to like cattle or your deer corn, that kind of stuff. That really doesn't have a lot of shit that humans can eat, because it's the multiple stomachs of animals allows them to ferment it some, and then it becomes something you can eat. But if you can find a deer corn that doesn't have like God, what is that? That crazy ass chemical that's aflatoxin. A deer corn that doesn't have a shitload of aflatoxin in it, so it's not moldy. It makes pretty good whiskey.
Yeah, horse sweet feed makes pretty good whiskey too.
Yeah, my problem with that is you end up with so much excess methanol because they put in the like hay chops in there.
You say that like it's a bad thing.
Oh, yeah. If you like hangovers and headaches
and blindness. Yeah.
Hangovers, headaches, and blindness. No big deal. God.
Okay, you ever heard somebody say they were so drunk they were blind? Well, there you go.
Blind drunk.
Yeah. Yep. That's where that came from.
You end up going home with Shamu.
Yep.
That's how Honey Boo Boo's mom ended up getting pregnant.
Oh. Okay. So what's our topic for the day?
It's still weed.
Yeah.
I mean,
still marijuana.
That was my fault.
I need to make a footnote. The guy who complains that we get off topic all the time got us off topic.
Well, it's a mushroom show. It's a mushroom show. I just wanted to get out the only mushroom news before we started the other news.
That was good.
That was very good news, though. I gotta admit. Yep.
Yeah.
So, all right, back to the weed.
And that the morel season is upon us again. I know I said it last time, but
yeah. I read a news story that they were trying to. Now the USDA is curious about the bulk indoor grows of morels, and they're finally studying it.
Yes,
they've been doing that for a while now.
They just released a report recently on it. Yeah.
But they were
actually, I just saw the news yesterday.
Yeah, me too. I was looking at their setup, and I was like, "You guys are fucked up, stupid."
Dude, like they only had like a 40% success rate.
Not only that, but they
were only getting like money.
They were getting like 1/3 of a fucking pound per row foot, or some shit like that. They were doing terrible. I was like, did you guys not listen to the fucking Morel show? Like, we did a show on cultivating,
and they're going by that as being, well, that's enough to make it profitable. No, it's
barely. Like, if you don't hire anybody, you do 100% of the fucking work yourself. But that's not how it's going to work. If you need
how much do you think morels go for a pound?
They in the article they said 30 to 35.
But those were
I think it would be more
numbers.
than that. I think it has to be more than that.
Those numbers were from 2009, man. Those are old numbers.
I don't know that was the number they used in the article, though. Yeah, I don't know it. While I've never sold a morel, I eat them.
I'm gonna say I've never seen them for sale. Everybody gets them.
I found them in my local drugstore or grocery store.
Our fancy grocery store called Market Street here has, or Central Market.
They were dried, but they had them.
Well, they have fresh ones here, but they're fucking like $78 a fucking pound here.
Those are that
imported
right.
direct from China. Yeah.
No, they're local. Well, I mean, they're from the U.S. That fancy place called Central Market.
How do they get them?
I don't fucking know. Laser beams, but Central Market only sells shit that's either local or grown or wild crafted in the fucking U.S. And there's shit like you can't a shopping cart full of food there is like $700, $800.
You know, like Walmart used to say all of our stuff's made in America too, till they got caught being liars.
They're fucking horrible liars. Yeah. So okay, back on topic here. So if I was, let's say, a first-time grower in a greenhouse I might or might not be making at the moment, what would be a good strain for me to choose and why?
Oh man, I mean,
I couldn't even tell you that.
There's
shit. That's
so
crazy.
many to choose from now. What
It's
you
like
can go on
asking a
like
newbie
90
what they want to grow.
right, yeah. With marijuana now, I mean, it has come so far from the old days. You can go
If I wanted to put a
many
seed,
online seed stores, and they'll tell you like this strain is good for indoor growing. This strain is good for
Outdoor,
outdoor growing.
Autoflower,
This
and they have
strain
categories.
gives you this percentage of THC. This, I
that
mean,
is way too many fucking options here, guys. Come on.
yeah.
Like,
So you got to
oh,
narrow
I
it
wanna-
down to what you
Well,
want.
that's what you're saying.
Okay.
You're asking what should I grow in my house, and it's like
Okay,
you can't
so,
pick like
okay.
that anymore.
So let's say
Here's what
are
I
you
want.
growing for how much do you want for output, and how strong do you want it to be?
And how fast
I
do you
want
want
it to be.
and how are you growing it? That's gonna be your top three questions.
I'm gonna grow it. I'm gonna grow it in pots in the greenhouse.
In a
It'll
greenhouse.
have auto.
Okay.
Yeah, it'll have an auto like misting auto water system. You know, like so just.
So like 3-gallon pots, 5-gallon pots, somewhere in that neighborhood.
Yeah, like 5-gallon pots is probably
how
right.
how tall is the greenhouse?
Yeah, you got plenty of room.
8 foot. It's 8 foot tall.
That's not tall enough for.
How much harvest are you looking to have?
How much
dry weight you want when you're done?
Enough that my wife can get fucking high. That's
2 fucking plants to last you a fucking year. I mean, if you have an 8-foot ceiling, that means you're gonna have to top it, and then you're gonna have to go out. You're gonna have to lollipop them. So
and that's of course growing.
What did you just call me?
A lollipop.
What he's referring to is a sativa dominant strain. There's 2 different main like branches of the marijuana tree. Is sativa, indica. Indicas tend to be short and fat, and sativas tend to be tall and giant. And then there's mixtures between the 2.
More?
Sativa, technically, yes, but the indica has a higher high. But there's breeds between the 2 that have different proportions of the 2 mixed together.
White Widow.
Okay, White Widow's a good choice. AK-47 is a good choice. Those are some of the more classic.
The new one that's really good. It's not even new. It's been out for like a decade almost. Is Runts.
Runts, Skittles, Girl Scout cookies. Those are all good choices.
Yeah.
Are they like super smelly? Like is my neighbor like 500 yards?
But you're gonna have a carbon filter. You have a greenhouse. If you've got a neighbor that's close and it's illegal, so that you're only allegedly growing, you're gonna need to have a carbon filter.
Yeah.
Like how far can you smell it? Like is it gonna be able to smell it like
100 yards?
That all depends on the sensitivity of the person's nose.
Okay.
And the wind direction.
100 yards is 100 yards is like from the greenhouse to the front of the house, which I'd rather not have people smell it there.
Yeah,
okay.
But if you have one carbon filter
in the same parking lot of a stoner's car and they have their windows down, and you're like, as soon as you get out of your car, like, holy fuck, that guy smoked weed. Yeah. That's the kind of thing you're gonna get from that greenhouse. It's that pungent.
Okay.
And every time you walk in there and then walk out, I hope you change your clothes.
It will hang with you.
Yeah,
it's very potent.
Someone did
like
right.
Not saying I would ever grow stealthily in my basement because it's illegal where I live. But let's say theoretically I had a hidden grow room built in my basement.
Theoretically.
I had carbon filters, or let's say theoretically I did. I had carbon filters, I had the grow lights, I had it all set up in a hydroponically enclosed system so that I could put it in there, turn everything on, and seal it up and never go in there until it's time to harvest.
Well,
and I had it set up that way. And my mother-in-law spent 2 months searching the basement, trying to find out where some cat had broke into the house, was pissing all over the house. Because there's something fucking stinky in here.
I mean, even a seedling that's not like 2-3 weeks old will stink up a fucking living room. I learned that as a kid.
The older they get, the worse it gets.
You know, once they start stretching, the fucking smell starts. So if you're gonna do it inside or by the house, you need to have a carbon filter. But if it's in a greenhouse and you have it open,
let the air take it.
You need that. Then you have to have ventilation, but you need to be shooting it up and away instead of
or just if it's legal where you're at. If it's legal where you're at, who cares if they smell it?
Yeah.
I can't have a closed greenhouse. It would get like 160 fucking degrees.
You live just south of the third gate of hell, so
yeah, it would get like 160 fucking degrees in there. Even though I have the greenhouse underneath most like shade. Like,
it's a lot of people
70% shade.
Would use like a swamp AC unit.
Okay.
Swamp cooler.
And basically that would cool the whole place down.
And Deadpool's favorite Vivor sells them really cheap, just so you know. And you can hook it up to a garden hose to automatically keep it full.
You don't even need to do that. You can just get the filters for like furnaces and get a filter and then get a pump so it like fucking just drips the water down the filter and then just had the fan blowing the air through the fucking filter patch. And not the filter patch, but the big huge things. And then
those don't really work here. The swamp coolers, because it's like usually in 85 to 90% humidity. I'm in the jungle, basically. You know, like a tropical rainforestish area.
Like a desert,
so that
deserty jungle.
No, it's not a desert at all. But
air conditioning your greenhouse while we're at it, like 50 mini splits in there.
You'd have to put a pretty good something in there to you know, maybe like a 1.5 ton.
But that's an issue with any kind of plant you're going to grow. I mean, whatever, you know, plants are plants. So in general, and
unless we're talking about autoflowers,
right?
That's a different game.
Yeah, but okay, I mean, if your growing conditions are autoflowers are a hybrid.
Okay,
they're a hybrid with.
Yeah, they don't go from time. You know when you plant them and you know when you harvest them. It doesn't go by like here. I start whenever the frost stops. So I'm like right now. I've got plants going so that I can clone and then have a whole bunch that I could plant. And same thing with trimming. I think is about right now. But if they're outside and they freeze, they're done.
I have autoflowers. Yeah.
But autoflowers.
I do right now.
Then keep talking about
my friend. I don't know if he wants to be named. Gave me some, so I'm growing them. But there's two different types right now. Autoflower seeds, and then there's a standard marijuana seed, which is marijuana is naturally a photoperiod type plant.
And don't forget about feminized seeds.
Yes, we'll get into that too. But a photoperiod plant, it's how many hours of daylight it gets, what growth stage it's in. So as long as it's getting at least 18 hours of daylight in a photoperiod plant, it's going to be in the growth stage, not the flowering stage. As soon as it drops down below like 12 hours, it goes into flower stage.
Other people call it the vegetative stage.
Yeah. So an autoflower does not go by photoperiod. It doesn't care how many hours of daylight it gets. You know, as long as you give it enough
you're really not
alive.
Supposed to clone them, but I guess you can.
Yeah, it's not recommended, but it's possible. And that's the thing. You can't clone an autoflower in general because of the photoperiod. When an autoflower is planted, it has X amount of days it's going to start flowering, no matter what. And a clone is just a copy of the original. So you make your clone at 10 weeks in, and it's going to start flowering.
Timer's already started.
Yeah, that 2-inch tall plant's going to start flowering, and it's going to fall over and die. Where a photoperiod plant, you can keep them in the vegetative state as long as you want, and just keep cloning one mother over and over and over again. I actually had thousands of plants out of that one if you want.
Remember that white widow I had when we all met each other? I had that thing for like almost 2 years because I kept them in a closet with fucking lights on all the time. Never turned them off,
right?
Unless the power goes off. So they got plenty of dark time. But
right.
Yeah. But then every fucking few weeks, go in there and trim it down because they'll go fucking nuts. They'll fucking fill out that closet fast.
But like somebody like
in
your situation,
easy.
A normal plant is super easy to clone. You
spice it. Is it like cloning tomatoes? You just
exactly
cut off a piece. Okay, well that's fucking stupid easy.
That's why you ever notice when everybody goes into a hydroponic shop and they're growing weed, all they do is ask, I need growing tomatoes. What can I get for hydroponics?
Yeah, tomatoes and marijuana they love the same stuff. If you can grow tomatoes, you can grow marijuana. They're
twinsies.
Yes, they're almost like growing the same plant. They look a lot alike when they're young, actually. But yeah. I mean, you clone them like in the old-fashioned way. If you want high volume, you're going to get some good mother plants. You're going to grow up several plants, whichever your strongest are. You're going to take clones of those. Once the clones get established good, you're going to take them, separate them, put them into flowering stage, even when they're little.
Well, hold on. You're missing a very important. Okay, that's what I was going to say. You have to sex a clone for the mother first. You only need to take a couple clones.
That's what I'm saying. You're going to grow a few, and you're going to sex those little ones to see what the mothers are. You mark them.
Yep, because then you're going to toss it if it's a male.
Right. You're going to kill the males and keep only the females because you don't want seeds because seeds kill terpene production. They put all their energy into making babies instead of making flowers because the flowers are trying to attract the mate.
There isn't like an heirloom variety that makes decent seeds you can plant from year to year and decent weed.
There
Like
might have
smoking
been at
this
some point,
If
but
you
marijuana
have
has been
stuff-
cultivated for so long that you
if you're
almost
growing
couldn't find it.
outside, odds are you're going to get a couple seeds.
You
Because-
think the mushroom world is crazy with all the different types?
Yeah,
Oh,
no.
My
we
lord!
get crosses, right? But we now there's crosses of crosses, cross with the cross of a cross. I mean, they'll give you a seed with like 6 different strains on it.
I mean,
It's like
you
they're
can
always
I got Chihuahua.
you can get weed with purple flowers, literal purple flowers now, just because you want purple flowers. I mean, there's been so much genetics bred into them that I wouldn't know what a landrace was anymore unless you went down to Mexico and found some growing in a ditch somewhere.
Yeah,
Some scrog.
the only way to avoid the whole cloning in the beginning thing is to get what they call feminized seeds, which
Right.
they're guaranteed to be females. So as long as they pop, you're good to go.
They're 99% guaranteed to be
Yeah.
females.
might
Feminized
as well,
seeds, when they're growing the mother plants and they allow them to be bred to make seeds, they actually, I believe, don't quote me on this, but I believe they put I think it's an oil that's derived from bananas in around the plant, and I think it's the same oil or same substance that they use to make tomatoes ripen fast, but it does something to the plant and it causes all the seeds to become female.
I did not know that.
Okay.
It's some kind of chemical they treat them with, though. But there's a chance of it, if it was meant to be a male and it became a female, it could turn into a hermaphrodite later on with feminized seeds. That's one of the risks you get, where it's a male and a female at the same time. You got to watch for that when you go into flower stage.
Trannies.
And to tell you can tell a male and female plant apart by their balls. A male plant will have 2 balls hanging at the nodes, where the female will have a little flower sticking up, little white hair sticking up.
You use silver thiosulfate.
Is that what it's called? Okay.
That's what it's called, yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I know that. Interesting. I'm going to get some.
Neither did I. That's pretty fantastic.
Mhm.
Because I wouldn't mind doing just one grow of go get 10 seeds, not feminized, and then have them just fucking all seed out.
And make your own male, and do your own breeding,
and do my own breeding, and then and just know that I'm not going to get the flower, but I'm going to have enough seeds to last me the rest of my life.
And you know what a lot of people will do is they'll grow a male in a completely separate space, because you do not want any of his little male stuff getting into your females.
Right.
And you take a small paper sack, you put it over his flower buds and knock the pollen off.
Yeah.
And then the one female that you want to inoculate, you just put that sack over that bud and shake it around and carefully pull it off without getting it all over the place. And then you have just that one bud turned into a seed pod, and the rest are all going to stay flowers. Or you can do it the old-fashioned way with a brush and brush it
with
on.
a brush or a Q-tip. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. But you got to be super careful you don't spread that pollen, because pollen spreads real easy.
How long are the seeds viable for?
Years.
Yes, if kept cool and dark, I mean, you can keep them a long time. They're like any other seed. Over time, you'll have less and less germination rate.
Yeah, but some seeds like squash seeds are good for fucking forever. Beans, long time. Corn, 4 to 5 years.
I would have to guess. I would say in the 4 to 5 year range if kept properly.
Okay, that's still a long time.
Yeah, because they're a hard little. They look like a little nut. The seed.
Oh yeah, I've seen them. Long time ago. I'm talking about when I was a little kid, maybe like 10, 11. I got some just like random Mexican bushweed seeds.
Yeah, some bag seeds.
Yeah, I planted them in my little fucking greenhouse out back, and the plants got about knee high. But I don't remember them smelling like super strong. Not unless you brushed up against them.
If you're outside,
I don't want to age ourselves, but back in the 90s when we were young and we were getting weed, we were getting brickweed from Mexico.
Yeah.
And you'd have to smoke 10 fucking joints to get high. Now you smoke a half a joint of modern weed, and us guys would fall on the fucking floor. It's so much stronger than it used to be.
One hit off of my wife's vape, I'm fucked for like hours.
I mean, like, what is a strong strain now? Like 27% THC now?
Dude, they have 90%.
Are
they?
you
I mean,
fucking
of
shitting
an
me?
actual without being purified.
No, these are vapes that are like 90 plus.
Oh yeah, well that's extracted. I mean, like just a standard gonna smoke a joint weed, like 27%.
I have no
I think
idea.
is like a high end. And then
Here's
when we were kids, I'll bet
the way I
I'll
think
bet we
about
were
it is
high
if I
in
want
like
to take a nap,
12%.
I'll just take a nap. I'm not gonna fucking take it. I'm gonna pay for drugs. to take a
I'm
nap.
saying back in the 90s, like 12% was like decent weed for us, and it's like
That was great
27%
weed back
now.
then when I was
Yeah.
a kid. Yeah.
I mean, it's gone that much further, just that quickly. We won't even get into extractions. Oh my lord, that's a whole different story. There's a lot of different ways of doing that, and then you can get some pure. And there's also the way to turn CBD powder into pure THC too. That can be done now.
That's a
Wow.
joke. The whole fucking CBD is legal, THC is not. You can get that home and turn that into THC in about 30 minutes.
Yep.
Really?
Turns it into it's been lab tested. It works.
All
you need is zeolite and CBD powder, lab grade CBD powder in an oven. That's it, and the right temperature.
That's really fucking.
The only downside is your pure THC has raw zeolite in it, which is like rocks. So you got to put it into like
a good thing you're not eating it.
Right. Well, that's actually the best way to consume it is to eat it or maybe smoke it. It might have a little pop to it, but you can throw it in like a cookie, and because the zeolite's so fine, it's like a grit. It doesn't really bother you.
Well, couldn't you just use like, I don't know, something and extract it out of there?
You could. I'm sure most people just consume it as either because it's such a fine crap to get out of there.
If you put it in some
or
peanut
you
butter,
can vape
you'll
it.
never even know the difference. You'll be chewing so much anyways.
Or you could just vape it, but your vape's going to get clogged up with zeolite after because it's going to leave it behind, of course. You have to clean it.
So where's a good spot to get seeds?
Seeds.
So many places. And they're about $10 a piece.
Yeah, roughly. The higher the quality or the more sought after, sometimes it costs a little more. It also depends on the legality of where you live, where you order from. Because not everybody.
It's not
technically
it's
illegal. I hate to put out like names because I don't know of any. I haven't ordered any specifically in a long time, so I don't know if I want to just
seeds
get it from here.
Seeds that I get have always been from people.
Right.
So I've never actually gone. I've looked online.
Yeah, I've looked at millions of them, but I could privately give you a few recommendations that I think are okay because I live in a place where it is highly illegal still.
It's still
really
illegal
frown
here.
upon it.
But
I know everywhere
that's fun to look at, like so I can pull up some shit while we're talking.
I'm just gonna tell you one that I've heard of is Seedsman. I don't know anything about them. I am not recommending them. SEEDSMAN. I've heard that name mentioned a lot. I don't know if they're really good or not.
Okay. Ooh. No, you can't send me fucking shit. No, you can't track my fucking shit. Fuck you.
Right. Yeah, they go a lot of can we talk to you kind of thing. But yeah, you can get an idea.
There's a lot of craziness on this.
You know what we can do?
Just think
we can make a FAFO. We can make a FAFO strain. Pick a couple and just grow them out and cross them.
Oh yeah, no, I'm totally down for that.
And
seeds are fucking expensive.
Yes. Now this is one of the bigger name companies, and I don't know how good they are. I think they're kind of like what's that damn place where everybody orders mushrooms from?
Inoculate the world.
Sporeworks. They're kind of like Sporeworks.
Spores 101, inoculate the world. I don't know. I honestly don't buy genetics either anymore.
After the podcast, I know a few people in Discord that we can talk privately with that also might be able to share some of their genetics with you.
Oh, that'd be good.
Yeah. I just want like just a few seeds. I want to give it a shot. I want to see what I can do.
We have a lot of FAFO people, a lot of friends of the FAFO that are also into this hobby. So I'll tell you some guys to talk to if you like. Yeah,
of course. I'd like to get a few seeds just to see.
I got my seeds from a friend of FAFO. We'll just say that out.
This one's really pretty. It's peyote gorilla. It's all purple.
Yeah, there's some gorgeous
gorilla
stuff.
Is no joke. Gorilla glue. That is a
it's wicked.
A brick.
Yeah, it says it's a Gorilla Glue number 4 crossed with peyote purple. It's indica dominant.
Yep, so it's going to be a little smaller of a plant, more stout, a lot easier to handle. The sativa dominants are going to be your large, giant plants.
It's
the small ones are going to
27%.
have just one great big bud coming off the top with maybe a couple.
If you let it grow
outside.
naturally, yes.
If you don't stop it.
25 to 27% THC, so that's pretty fucking high.
Yep. Yeah, well, if it's got Gorilla Glue in its heritage, yeah. But if you look on the left side, you can sort their plants by all kinds of, like, your climate, the color that you want, what generation it is, all that kind of stuff. Whether it's auto-flowering or not, whether it's photo period, everything. You can narrow it down to just what you want. And that's most seed websites are going to be real similar to that. Now, are these guys reputable? I want to say yes, but I can't. I've never ordered from them, so I can't say. And if you notice, most of them are feminized.
Yeah.
And some people want feminized. A lot of people want feminized because they don't want to do what Deadpool's doing and breed, because that's the only reason you wouldn't want to feminize, honestly.
Jesus Christ.
Because every time you need seeds, you're going to have to reorder.
This shit looks absolutely fucking nothing like we did back in the day.
Not a thing like it, is it? Nothing like
this. Like this strawberry cheesecake shit. It looks like it's covered in crystals, just like.
And let's be clear, when you grow these, they don't taste like that. The only way they taste like that is if you've dried it properly, you burped them, and this takes like between 60 and 90 days.
Oh yes, that's one of the most important parts.
Yeah.
If you're gonna smoke your flower, is processing it properly after harvest.
It does not matter how you grow it; it matters how you cure it. Curing
Okay, explain this to me.
Go ahead.
Explain this to me then.
You want me to do it, Deadpool, or?
Go ahead.
I can give you a basics of it. I'm no expert, but me personally, whenever I'm ready to do my plants, I will cut the whole bottom of the plant right off, right? And I'm going to hang it upside down in a cool, dry, dark place, upside down, and just let it dry for a while, like it is. Leaving the leaves on it, and everything. Once it gets to a certain point of dryness that I like, that's kind of a, I don't know.
You leave all the fan leaves on there?
At first I do, yes.
Okay.
And then once it gets to a certain dryness, I'll go through. It's not completely dry yet. I'll go through and I'll get rid of all the fan leaves. I'll individually branch it and I'll dry them some more. And then once it's really good and dry, then I'll go through and I'm going to take a real fine scissor and I'm going to trim all the excess leaves that are ugly. I save those though, because they will have trichromes on them, and you can make extracts and stuff. Yeah. And so then you end up with just your buds, right? And you're going to clip your buds. And they're the right dryness. They seem like they're almost cracker dry, but they're not quite ready yet. Then you're going to put them in glass jars, and you're going to let them sit a few days in the jar. Then you're going to burp all the air out of the jar. You're going to open them up, let them get some air, breathe, put the lid back on. You're going to do that over and over again. So it's going to pull moisture in and out of them until it equalizes to the perfect moisture content. You don't want them completely dry.
Use the little patches? The
desiccants?
Yeah, but they're both ways. It keeps
right.
It, I don't know.
Keeps it dry and moist. Yeah, they make a thing that really helps with it. I've never used them, but I've always looked at them. They'd be cool to try. But yeah, it's just like curing tobacco in the old days. You got to get it just right. It's got to age to perfection before it's ready to go. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And then, if you're going through all that stuff, then you have to have your fucking, your tool has got to be right. It's got to be clean. Everything else can't mix the kind with the swag. But yeah, just if you're gonna spend $30 on a fucking seed, to get the top drawer, you need to spend the 90 days. Don't get me wrong. You can smoke it right away. That's it, and not right away.
A lot of people do. They'll smoke it as they go. Sample. Yeah. But it's not going to be as. It's like drinking moonshine right out of the still. It's going to be hot at first. You can do it, but it's going to be hot.
But not as good as it could be.
Right. And if you're wondering about the curing process, there's so many guides on the internet. Just pick a good one and follow it, really. It's like...
Can I just, take it and just throw it in a fucking freeze dryer and call it a day?
No.
You can. Will it produce the highest quality? Probably not. But yeah, I mean, back to tobacco. Would you want tobacco that was dry as a bone?
Because if it's super fucking dry, all right, it's gonna fucking set on fire and it's gonna be gone. Okay? It's like pipe tobacco, same fucking
exactly.
thing.
It's like a humidor is what you're doing when you're burping it. Actually, you're creating a humidor.
You're closing it up so it can go ahead and rehydrate itself.
Can I just buy like a?
In
Can I
theory,
just buy
you
like
could.
a $100 humidor off of fucking Vivor and load up all the fucking weed in there?
Theoretically, yes, you could. You could. Once you get it to the right drying stage, where you're trimming it and everything, and then when you're at just the bud stage, you could put it in a humidor. Yes. Because it's just going to automate the process pretty much.
Because the jars you're going to be keeping them in for storage are the same thing anyways as a humidor. Usually it's a big glass jar with the lid or cork that has the cork that you can wet down, or use some desiccant packets that keep it between 65 and 75% humidity.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, you're right on. A humidor could do the work. Yep.
Okay. So they're saying that the seedsman guys are saying that your White Widow is a heirloom variety.
Yeah, White Widow's been around forever.
That was the first one and my favorite.
I think AK-47 was my first and White Widow was my second that I ever grew of the more modern varieties. I mean, I grew bagweed when I was in high school. I don't know what the hell that was. I didn't even have a name. It was, hey, you want this?
Yeah.
This bag's $20. That's what it was called.
Exactly.
I think we called it ditchweed as a kid.
Yeah, pretty much.
But it was nowhere near the high end stuff.
They have White Widow feminized autoflowers. What?
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh no, early fast or the fuck ends. All right, never mind.
Yeah, you hear. I think the latest one I've been hearing a lot about is Runts and Skittles, Z Skittles or whatever it is. That's the last two I've been hearing people talking about. Biscotti's Skittles, yeah, right there.
That's
you can almost
cool.
sort by price on this website to see what the latest coolest one is.
The ones I got before that last year that freaking kind of died, they were Skittles, but instead of with an S, they started with a Z.
Yep. Okay.
Lemon Zittles or something.
Looks like on their website, I sorted from high to low. Pink Nova is $133.
What the
for a 3-pack or a 10-pack?
I didn't click on it. Hold on.
What is it like? Damn, it's
hybrid strain with web leaf structure, versatile, adaptable, resistant strain with high yields and TC content, good stealth value. Grow medium tall. All environments it can be grown in, all outdoor or indoor, cool door, hot. I'm trying to find out what makes it worth so much. Oh, it has pink pistils.
A lot of them do.
I'm trying to find how many seeds you get in the pack. Oh, it's part Girl Scout cookies is in its heritage. 10 seeds for $133. Yeah.
Yes, that's right. Whoa. $13 a seed, 10, 13. That's not bad.
But that's the most expensive one on that website that I see. Not saying it's the best, it just happens to be the most.
Yeah, but I mean, like the White Widow, the pack is $14, and that's for 5 seeds. So that's not bad at all. Especially when
man, that one's pretty.
Which one?
Truth or Consequences. I like that one. I just like the way it looks. It's got a nice look to it.
All right, so we got places you can buy them online. We went ahead and let's talk about starting the seeds. I mean, I
just put them in a pot, or
I put them in a paper towel.
Yeah, I'm a paper towel Ziploc baggie kind of guy, but yeah.
Yeah, paper bag.
Wet paper towel, of course.
Yeah.
That way you know for sure it's going to sprout. You leave it in there a couple days and you'll get a little white tail sticking out. And you know it's a good seed.
The taproot comes out. But then I the night before I'm going to do this, I let them soak in a shot glass full of water and they'll sink. Because if they float, odds are they're not good. They still could be. But when they sink, you know they're good seeds. Because you're basically rehydrating them completely before you put them in the dirt.
Okay.
But yeah, you see what I mean about choices, though. My God. I mean, it's a goal in itself to pick it out which one you want to even grow. Whew.
What humidity percent are you supposed to keep them at? Because the humidors, it looks like they go 65 to 75%.
That's it. Wait, what? Humidors?
Yeah.
You're talking about the end of the fucking game. I mean, are you talking about the plants while you're growing them? Because
No. I'm talking about like the aging the bud, like you were saying. Because I'm gonna have to Google it.
80% is what I believe it is.
Okay.
You want it between because if it dries out, the terpenes are going to be garbage.
Well, this is a cigar humidor, and it goes 65 to 75%, but it keeps it at 60. Like the temperature is really nice and pretty.
I mean, I could be wrong, but I mean, a humidor is not what I would use. I mean, I don't know. It first off is really, really fucking small, and if you're growing a plant,
it's 700. It's 70 liters. It's the size of a medium-sized fucking refrigerator. I'm sure you could put it in there.
Okay, so you're not talking a normal person humidor.
I googled the basics of it, Curie. It says to dry it upside down in your dark closet for 2 to 10 days before curing. Then you do your trimming and you cure it for 2 to 4 weeks at 45 to 65% humidity and 60 to 70 degrees Fahrenheit.
Oh.
Okay, so perfect with the humidor. Straight up perfect with the humidor.
Well, the humidor's got to be airtight.
It is.
Really? None of mine are. You just have fucking lids that I open up and close down, and then it keeps like that.
No, it looks like a refrigerator, and a humidor. It keeps the refrigerator. It looks like a refrigerator.
You're saying a humidor, but then you're talking about a refrigerator. So it's like a refrigerator that has no fucking.
It's a fucking cigar humidor. It's to keep like really expensive cigars in perfect condition. Here, I'll put it in the FAFO top. You can click the FAFO.
I know what you're talking about. It's a big refrigerator with a humidifier in it and a dehumidifier in it.
Right. But during your drying process, it's also important to keep it as dark as possible while you're drying. You don't want a lot of light.
Airflow.
Light during the first drying part. Light degrades your THC content.
Yeah. Airflow is important because if the moisture between the buds and the leaves, if you don't cut the leaves, they will cause mold, and that'll go through your shit faster than a whore at a fucking bachelor party. It's fucking So you want to fucking make sure there's air, lots of air, but not pointed directly at it because it'll dry it out fucking faster than a fucking nun swat.
Yep.
Interesting. Okay, so we've got is there any particular special way to start seeds besides once just paper towel, napkin, or put them in dirt, make sure they're hydrated?
I don't know of any. I mean, it's just like starting any other seed in the world.
I know. Yeah, I mean, a lot of people do that, but then there's a lot of people because nowadays you're getting the newest genetics. They haven't been sitting on a shelf for 2 years, so you're not worried about them not fucking tapping. You're not worried about them not popping. So a lot of people just put them right in the dirt, which is fine. You can do that. It's no big deal. But
you don't want to plant them too terribly deep. But
I mean, and that all depends on if you're growing in fucking dirt or you're growing hydro. Because if you're growing hydro, then you have to do it like that. Because you have to let it get a root started before you go ahead and put it either in your cube or your whatever, or the clay balls or whatever the hell you're using.
Yeah.
I mean,
when I did hydro, I did a hybrid approach. I would start mine in dirt, then I would wash all the dirt off the roots once it was established and put it into hydroponics.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, that's really easy. That's what I do with tomatoes and peppers.
Yeah. It was just easier than starting it the hard way with hydro. Hydro could be a little tough to get them going.
Oh, I made a thing with a tote with the fucking spray unit inside. They're just sprayed at the top. At the top.
Yeah, that's for making clones, hydroponic clones with aeroponics. Yeah, or aero clone.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah.
And those are easy to make. You can make one of those with an air bubbler in a tote, or even a tote with just holes drilled in it. You stick your cups in there, and it just the air bubbles spritzes up the water on the bottom of the root, or the stems as it creates the new roots.
Yeah, but I mean, when you're going to do hydroponics, the roots are different. Never tried that. I thought because when they're
as long as you have plenty of oxygen available in the nutrient solution, or it has oxygen going to the roots, they'll be fine.
All right.
You can't just stick it in a cracking method right off the bat without the roots being able to transfer over first.
Right. And if we're talking about Kratky method to people that might not be familiar with it, it's where you have a very large container without, like you're not ever changing the water, but you have a very large container full of nutrient solution. You put all your nutrients in the very beginning, and then you put your plant inside of there, and where the bottom of the basket is barely touching the water. And as the plant uses the nutrient solution, the water level is going to drop, allowing more air to get to the roots as they go.
Yeah. And your plant will literally grow two different types of roots. It'll grow a root above the water that harvests air, and a root below the water that just harvests nutrients.
And that's the Kratky method. It's a one and done, and it usually you need to start off with a pretty good size container.
I was going to say that's a lot of water for one container.
Yeah. Marijuana is very hungry plant.
I've seen
a lot of everything. It's like growing
people
corn.
be very successful with trash cans. Like those medium-sized trash cans, the Rubbermaid ones with the lids on them. I've seen people, I guess they're like 25-gallon trash cans or something like that they do pretty good with.
I personally have never seen anyone grow marijuana with the Kratky method, and if anybody has, I'd be interested to hear about it in the FAFO. You guys want to talk about it? That'd be awesome. I'd like to hear how it went if you did.
I've grown peppers many times with the Kratky method, just out of pure laziness. And like the habaneros I grew were fucking monsters. We're talking about a plant that got 6-7 feet tall, 7 feet wide, and like would have 5-gallon buckets of fruit every week. Cool. Like they just absolutely, the base of them was like the size of a 20-ounce Coke. Like nice. The part that was coming out of the bucket. So the Kratky method, I could say, works really well for peppers, like all different types of peppers, jalapenos, whatever. And tomatoes, okay, works really well for like cucumbers, and melons do great in Kratky.
And see, the amp on tomatoes scares me a little bit because marijuana and tomatoes grow so much alike. I mean, that's the scary part.
My problem with
nutrients, they like everything the same.
My problem with having tried to grow tomatoes in the Kratky method is tomatoes require more water than they require nutrients. So they tend
marijuana. Marijuana is a thirsty plant. It soaks it up.
Yeah,
it's a weed. Weeds love water. I mean,
Yeah, the tomatoes tend to absorb more water and leave some nutrients behind, and eventually it salt poisons itself after a while by concentrating.
The ppms get too high.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, after a while it drinks more of the water and leaves more of the nutrients behind. Then eventually it concentrates the nutrients to the point where it starts getting salt burn and going to shit.
Yeah, I was gonna say, but I would never use the Kratky method or whatever method because, like you're talking about, I mean, every time you want to add your water, you're checking for pH, you're checking for ppms, and then then between stages, if you're going to bloom, you're changing your shit. I mean, but that's all hydroponics. I myself have set up hydroponic spots for people. I've never really done a big hydroponic grow myself. I'm more of an outdoor person.
I've grown hydroponics every way you can imagine, and except for Kratky with marijuana. And I'd say my best results were ebb and flow.
Ebb and flow table?
Yeah.
Nice.
Ebb and flow. That's where the water comes up to the bottom of the roots and drains back down like 3 times.
Are you talking about the buckets or the table full of clay pots?
I've done both.
Which one did you like better?
The buckets work the best for me.
Do they? All right.
There used to be a kit. I don't know if they even make it anymore. It used to be called the Ebb and Grow kit. I'm gonna look.
Yes, they still make it. It's still on Amazon.
That was the one that I that was the kit that I had.
Yeah. That's the bucket kit that cost like fucking $300 for like
it's $600
buckets for like 5 buckets and a pump.
3, 6, 9. You get 12 buckets with it.
Ooh.
For $600.
So $36 worth of buckets, $3 worth of hosing, and
I could build it myself.
Yeah, $20 worth of fixings. And
okay, here's the story of how I got my Ebb and Grow. Because you know me, I'm a cheap fucker. I was working with a guy, and he was a Mexican guy actually, and he got caught growing weed. But they hadn't found everything he had yet. And he gave me everything he had for growing weed just to get it away out of his possession. And that's how I ended up with it. But yeah, it was one of the best kits I ever had. I mean, it's simple. It's just a timer and 2 pumps and some hoses and some buckets. But I mean, it worked great for what it was. And if a person isn't handy to build their own stuff, it's a great way to get going. There's a cheap kit on Vivor that's just a bucket kit that has air bubblers that go to it. It's not really a ebb and flow though. It's more of a deep water, I would say, culture.
My favorite has always been like a modified Dutch bucket system.
Dutch buckets are awesome.
I've never had anything at all go wrong with Dutch buckets. They've always been so easy.
The beauty of a Dutch bucket is it always has water in it, even if you lose power. Yep. So you got a lot of what's the word?
Is that the one where you're floating it on top of the water?
No. A few inches up from the bottom of the bucket, you drill a hole, and you put a rubber grommet and a piece of PVC pipe, like a U, in there. And when it fills up past that pipe, it flows out.
It flows out, right?
Into a rail and goes back to the collector.
At the beginning, so the water keeps flowing until it hits that.
So the way that I do it is like kind of like a modified Dutch bucket. It's basically but I move the water level up to about a third of the bucket. So I call it like a recirculating deep water culture kind of way to do it. So the water's constantly spraying in through the top of the bucket, through the roots, goes down into the bucket, and the water level in the bucket stays the same, about a third of the bucket full, but it's constantly being changed because I'm constantly adding water and adding nutrient solution to the top. And it's a very weak nutrient solution. And I've had great luck. Now I've never grown weed, except for that one time when I was a kid, accidentally, it was just ditch weed that grew and
slipped and fell.
I'm very
in the pot.
But like I really want to do this. But I have when I say I've grown like a lot of tomatoes and a lot of peppers, like hydroponically, I literally mean that. Like growing jalapenos as big as my hand.
But honestly, if the easiest way, if you're an experienced gardener, if you close your eyes and pretend like you're growing tomato plants, 90% of it's there. Pretend like they're tomatoes and you'll be fine.
Perfectly. The recirculating deep water culture hydroponic bullshit that I fucking did with my God, the tomatoes I grew stupidly indeterminate tomatoes. They grew from about 20 feet away from the house up onto the fucking roof. Like they were just ridiculously massive. They probably got 50 feet long. And they produced so many massive tomatoes. I was very, 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 very impressed, and I'd love to do that again. It's just I don't know if I need to get that crazy.
Always got to go excess. FAFO that sucker, bro.
Dude, but I'll go this way: if you're gonna do it, why not do one big one, last you a few years, and then you can do other shit for the next 4 or 5 years.
Yeah. But if anybody out there is interested in like a good resource for learning like everything there is to know about Dutch bucket gardening in a greenhouse, there's a YouTube channel. I don't think he makes videos anymore, but this guy was like,
he does
Dutch bucket, and it's MHP Gardener. His name is.
Yeah, he still makes some videos. I was just on his site the other day.
Oh, that guy is great for a resource for learning everything there is about Dutch buckets, and he tells you his recipe for the nutrient solution. I mean, he goes into detail on everything in his videos. It's really good.
I'm putting up some pictures of what my system looks like.
Yeah, he goes out to his greenhouse with a can of Duke's mayonnaise and some bread and just picks tomatoes off the vine and slices them up, makes sandwiches while he's talking to you sometimes.
He's a pretty cool
tomatoes.
guy.
Yeah, he's got tomatoes growing up to the ceiling all the time with his.
Oh, his dedication to it is extremely impressive, and I've learned a lot from him with his Dutch bucket system that I've ended up using to just kind of like build my own version that was modified.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, take whatever they have and make it your own. That's the beauty of growing plants versus mushrooms. You can FAFO with plants a lot more. They're a lot more forgiving than mushrooms. So just do it. Really, I mean, get your hands dirty. It's great. It's the greatest.
Yeah,
greatest things ever.
I've found that if you fuck it up a little, that's okay. You could always replant it into something else, or if you start noticing it look like shit, you can always you can stop and fix it. Whereas mushrooms, they go from I'm happy to I'm dead, like in like 4 hours.
Yep.
So things got to be a little bit less.
Green is the color of this season. I think I'll go with that. Yeah.
So here's some pictures of how I put mine together.
I should look and see if I have any old pictures of that pretend indoor grow I used to have. I don't know if I have any or not. Do I, Deadpool?
What's that, bud?
Do I have any pictures of that pretend indoor grow I did that time?
I'm thinking about. You've never sent me anything.
Let me look. I gotta look way back in the past. It's been a long time.
And if either one of you needs any of those 5-gallon bucket lids, I got about 70 of them left.
Dude, I would love some of those bucket lids because I got tons of buckets and no fucking lids. Because Home Depot,
I'm good.
I mean, most of the time I've gone to get my buckets. What's that?
Look on the Discord, the bucket lid like that. They fit on a 5-gallon bucket. They're the net pots that fit on the 5-gallon buckets.
Right. What I'm saying is I have no lids to any of my buckets. I've got tons of buckets, but no lids for my hydro. So I plan on.
There's your man right there.
I've made I'll trade you some seeds and send me some fucking seeds. But I got y'all's spices. I made a big batch of soap that's ready to ship, and I'm gonna ship out when we get paid again here on the 1st. And
I hear you, bro. Money is
freaking
tight these days, thanks to your president. But we won't get into that.
It's just that I had to end up paying. My daughter did that Disney World, like for her birthday, like her
vacation,
5th birthday,
the $7,000 vacation.
My God, that thing was expensive. Like we had saved a bunch of money for it, but it still took both of our paycheck. I stayed at home and ate ramen because my personal idea of hell would be to be stuck in Disney World, waiting in line on rides with Karens, like just being like, "It's okay, little Johnny, we'll get there eventually." And
listen, if you're gonna spend $7,000 on a motherfucking vacation, spend the extra $300 and get the fucking pass to pass everybody.
We got the passes. We got. I paid for everything: the passes, the Polynesian resort, the whole 9 fucking yards. It was just. My wife had a great time. My daughter had a fucking blast. They sent me a billion fucking pictures. But my personal idea of hell. I've got. We've talked about this in the podcast before. I've got some PTSD, right, from being in the military and everything else, and just my personal idea of fucking hell is huge crowds of people who I can't punch in the face, or I'm not in control of, right? And they're like, "Well, I mean, you're in EMS, you're on the ambulance all the time. You have a bunch of around crowds of people. I'm in fucking control of those situations, right? Like they called me to come there and fix their shit. So, and then I've got law enforcement backup and everybody else. So everything works out pretty well. But like going to like a resort just packed with people, I would have responded very negatively and I would have made the whole thing miserable. So I stayed home, but it was so expensive just to send the wife, the kiddo there with her friends went, but they paid their own way. And, but just the wife and the kiddo, God, it was like I said, like $7,000 plus they had to get spending money in the park and a turkey leg is $30 fucking dollars, dude. Like, it was ridiculous. Everything was so expensive, but she probably spent another like $200 on memorabilia, pictures, park shit, rides, fucking all sorts of other shit. But
I haven't found any good pictures of that grow yet, but I did find a picture of a white widow when it was starting to flower.
those are the pictures that I sent. At the very bottom, you can see that's when I first put the plants in. They're kind of wilty. And then the other ones, we can see the new bright green grow. That's only like 3 days later. The sons of bitches. It's amazing how fast things grow in hydroponics. It's like, I swear to God, you can hear the fucking plants grow. And at least in the Dutch bucket system, and it's constantly flowing. You can see where the little outspout is. If our listeners go to the podcast pics, you can see them. The little outspout, that is the water level. I have it wrapped in aluminum foil because I live really far in the south, and I want to keep it cooler, and I don't want let light into the bucket so it doesn't grow algae or anything else like that would compete with the nutrients for the plants. So the water level gets up there, it flows back into that pipe. The pipe goes back to it was like a 35-gallon tote, just the yellow top, the biggest yellow top black tote that Walmart had or Home Depot had. And that's it. And it was just one little garden pump, and it just constantly recirculates. There's I think 12 buckets in the little system. It cost me whatever 12 Home Depot buckets cost. The lids I found at a one of those discount stores. Somebody's mom got mad and gave them away or somebody's wife or whatever chucked all these lids in a huge stack, just taped them up and threw them in the donation pile. So the people didn't know what they had. They're like, oh, $5, and I got 65 fucking lids for $5. And I looked them up. The things are they're $5 to $10 a piece.
Yeah.
So I've got enough lids to do the rest of my life. Well, they just snap right on top of a 5-gallon bucket.
Those lids are the same lids for the mycology. You get the fucking lids for the jars and your filter patch. Okay, you can make those jars with 2 filter patches to be special cool, and you can have that done in 2 seconds and pay fucking 10 cents for that thing and sell it for $2. It's fucking and people buy them by the dozens. I don't know. I want to say it's lazy, but it's
this last picture I posted for you that's a sativa, just to give you an idea of the difference between sativa.
Oh my God, sir!
Yeah, that's a full-blooded sativa. That's what they look like.
Shit, that would take up half the fucking greenhouse.
Yeah. And 10 pounds. They're usually about 10 pounds if they have a good year.
Yeah.
No, I don't want to do that. That's way too big.
But you can do one of those.
That would be a full-blooded sativa.
Yeah, but I would do that outside. That everybody within a mile of me got to steal.
It's different. If it's outside, it doesn't smell like that because the air is constantly circulating through the thing. It's when you have it in an enclosed place, like a greenhouse. Okay. I'm not saying it doesn't stink. And
the greenhouse is more like
what's that?
Yeah. The greenhouse is more like a shade house, right? It's going to have it has windows. The windows are always going to be open. There's 12 windows on each side, and the doors on each side are always going to be open because it's always I have fans in there too because I've always got to have airflow. But it's more set up to reduce the amount of sun for me anyway, because it's not it's not clear. It's 60% shade that I have on it, or 40% shade. But then I have it underneath trees as well to get more shade. Because one of the problems we have here is not that we don't have enough sun, is we have too much fucking sun. That everything dies if you just put it in the sun. Now, during the winter in the greenhouse, I'll be able to grow tropical plants year round.
Right.
But I like the idea of putting that in the greenhouse so it's hidden. But if I can't, I guess I could just grow it out there in the middle of the brush, because I've got brush that's thick. You can't even see through the fucking shit. It's so thick. I could just clear out an area about 12 feet in diameter and put one of those out there, let it do its fucking thing. Deer don't eat it, do they? Deer won't eat.
Oh yeah, they do.
Oh yes, they do. They fucking love eat the shit out of it.
God damn it! Now.
Okay, I found a picture of my ebb and grow room before I put weed in it when I was just testing it with some plants that were half dead. But those plants
allegedly.
Well, these plants that are in there ended up taking over the room. Do not ever plant mint indoors in hydroponics, or you will regret it.
Yeah.
Just gonna say that back plant was mint. I ended up hauling it out in fucking garbage bags, dude. It covered the whole fucking room.
Yeah.
My whole house smelled like fucking spearmint gum, but
I
yeah,
put mint in.
these plants were really tired that I put them in there, and then I put an aloe in there. You see how aloe would do in hydroponics? Aloe grows like a fucker in hydroponics too, by the way.
I haven't found anything that doesn't. If you do like a Dutch bucket type system or an ebb and flow, I haven't found anything that doesn't. I've even grown. One time I just took a huge tote full of perlite, like just because perlite's really cheap here, and I just put a fucking potato. I cut like a third of a fucking potato up, put the goddamn potato in there, let it grow potatoes. So I grew like ebb and flow fucking potatoes, and which was great. Like harvesting was retardedly easy.
Yeah, and in that room that I have a picture of, all the walls are covered in just sheets of Mylar, like the stuff to make balloons out of. You can buy a roll of it off Amazon for like super cheap, and I just taped it to the walls. I mean, ceiling, floor, everything was covered in Mylar. That fucking place was reflective, boy.
Oh yeah, it looks like you need to wear sunglasses to go in there.
Yeah, it was wicked. I had a 1,000-watt HPS grow light back then.
You're gonna get a tan going in there.
That was before the days of LED grow lights, you know.
Good but the potato hydroponic potato did great. Like ebb and flows, but I had it only ebb and flowing like twice a day.
Wait a minute. Allegedly, all that stuff I just said. Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, like the ebb and flow. So it would dump the water in there. The water would stay for 45 minutes. The bell siphon, then the siphon would kick in and dump it all out. And but it stayed moist because of like all of the material in there. But the plant above soil plant was about 5 foot fucking tall for the potato, and underneath there, every square inch of that tote was fucking potatoes. I had that one tote off of one from the grocery store russet potato, like Idaho grown bag potato. I had I think 14 pounds of potatoes just off of one fucking like little, basically like piece of potato. It was really, really cool. Would I do it again? Nah. Why? It was boring. There's nothing going on above the ground like to look at. There's nothing to harvest. It's just like, oh look, it's more green and taller. It's like, whoa. But one thing I noticed, I didn't have any pest problems. I didn't have any potato beetle, no blights, no fungal problems, nothing at all with it. It worked out really well.
I ended up getting spider mites in my indoor grow before. But
see,
I got some ladybugs and let them go in there and it helped.
See, I never had a problem with the mites or something because I use that poultry dust. It's just it's that pyrethrum or permethrin or whatever the fuck you want to call it, the dust that you're supposed to shake on your chickens. Well, it smells like minty, but it's super deadly, because it's pyrethrum. It's a neurotoxin to bugs, and all I do is just grab a handful and either blow it off my hand with a leaf blower because it's not at all toxic to you, or I just throw it through the fan if it's in the greenhouse or whatever, and it just dusts the whole goddamn greenhouse. It's like finer than baby powder. It just goes everywhere, and I've never had a problem with a bug. I do that just as I just did it to the whole backyard in my grow now because I noticed I had a ass ton of grasshoppers everywhere. My wife has this little Ryobi leaf blower, and I just put little piles like maybe a quarter of a cup on just like a piece of wood and just blew it into big billowing clouds of dust that killed off all of the damn bugs. Now everything's back because it rained real good. Like all the bees are back, everything else, the butterflies are back, but it did a really, really good job of killing all the grasshoppers.
I miss my old job now. Thanks a lot, you guys.
Mm-hmm.
I'm looking through all my old pictures. I remember that I found the picture of the day I decided I wanted to learn how to fly paramotors.
Nice.
And I took this picture that day, and I said, I'm going to get a paramotor because I was rich back then.
Yeah, I'd say I like my job now. I really enjoy it. It's now I say that after having a few beers, but this is the best job I love to hate, right? Or this is the most fun I've hate to have or have. I don't know, man. It's a lot of fun, but working a 72, doing 911 in a busy area is just not something you should fucking do. You should not do that. That was way too intense. I probably had 6.5 hours of downtime spread across 72 hours. Other than that, it was just going. I had some fun calls, but by God, it was
There
busy.
ain't nothing fun about blood and guts, is there?
Yes, there is. There is. It's a lot of fun. Trauma's easy, guys. Air goes in and out, blood goes round and round. Any deviation from that's a problem. Just fix it. It's trauma's easy. Fix the bleeding, fix the breathing, rock on.
Cool, man.
But yeah, it's all right. Let's say me, I'm a fucking beginner. Like beginners who come to do to grow weed. We're like, hey, start with something fucking easy that's highly domesticated, like golden teachers or something like that, right? There's not just like a beginner weed to grow?
Pretty much any of your indica dominants are going to be a lot easier to handle. They're going to be smaller, but they're a lot easier to handle, of course. Other than that, it's just like growing any other plant. I mean, you watch for your males and females and your photo period or not. That's another, all that kind of stuff you got to keep in mind. But
I want something that's going to stay under 6 or 7 feet. It doesn't have to put out pounds of freaking product. Just, enough to make it worth growing it. So I can say, hey, look, I grew something that doesn't require constant fucking babysitting. Like it's not super delicate breed. And one that I don't have to do any weird chemical mixtures to make it flower or do anything weird. That's just going to make bud.
I would go with an Autoflower, at least for a beginner, honestly. And pretty much whatever harvest, once you got your feminized Autoflower, go with whichever one pictures you like the best, or which one has the THC content you like. Other than that, they're easy.
Okay.
Because with Autoflowers, there's no cloning, there's no photo period to worry about, or how long your days are, or any of that stuff.
I like
especially
that.
Especially if you're growing in a greenhouse and the sun's up, 24 hours a day there, it'll never go into flower for you.
It's not up 24 hours a day, but it's up long. Like I guess now it's probably popping up about
in your climate. It should grow to its maximum potential.
Yeah. There's probably 13 hours of light right now.
God, I want to change the subject so bad. I'll go to general.
What? What do you want to talk about?
They said they were going to herd cats for a living.
Was that on Sleepy?
Sleepy. I got a picture. I'm going to put it in general for Sleepy.
That'd be Sleepy, and he wasn't herding cats for a living. He made friends with some crazy old cat lady and did a bunch of work for her. And in exchange, she paid him in cats and told him that they're super badass purebred cats, and that if he breeds them to her purebred cats, that she'll give him half the cat money. And he fell for it, and instead of taking money for the construction job he did for her, he took it in payment of cats, with the caveat that he's going to do all of the raising, feeding, poop scooping, and everything, and breed his fucking cats back to her cats, and in the process give her half the cat money.
Cat picture I put in general chat.
I'm like, holy shit, dude. You just became part of a oh my God, what the fuck?
Is that a cat or a fucking gerbil?
The cat, rabbit, and gerbil all had a party. I don't know.
It's a cabot. It's a cat-rabbit hybrid.
Dude. It looks like a guinea pig that has real ears. That is weird. Stop looking at me.
Hey, Michael cat. Oh, there you go.
He says, let's see if he wants to come on real quick.
Heck yeah. He actually was a professional weed grower.
We could send him maybe I could send him an invite.
I don't see why not. There's not that many of us in here.
No. We should be able to add him to it. He's probably going to get...
That could be the title of our weed scene if he comes on. Michael Cat. Growing... We'll see if he can if he comes on, he can verify.
He says he's in the middle of masturbating. I mean,
Right.
whatever, it's something. He's in the middle of something. Whenever he says something, I just automatically like transpose the word to masturbating.
Right. Something that you can understand
Masturbating.
why they can't
Yeah,
make it. Yeah.
exactly.
Makes sense.
Because I'm like, whatever. All right. So
Yeah.
I'm gonna go. Yeah, I mean, I have really, really good airflow through the greenhouse, so it's not ever going to be closed up until like January of every year, and even then, it'll only be closed up for like 2 or 3 weeks because it only gets cold here for like 2 weeks. So other than that, it'll be open. Basically, imagine like one of those big greenhouses with the sides all rolled up, so only the top is like maybe
Yeah.
the top.
In
Yeah, it's
your
just basically
situation, you're going to be more worried about hours of daylight versus hours of darkness if you're not doing autoflowers. Other than that, because I mean, I don't know why my brain is not letting me know this, but there's a certain amount of hours. Let's see. I'll Google it real quick.
18
Hours.
to keep it in veg, and then once it hits a 12-12, then it goes into fruiting.
Okay, so as soon as you get less than 12 hours of daylight, you're going to go into fruiting with a standard non-autoflower.
Yep. I'm at about 13 hours right now, and I probably won't hit 12 hours again until the fall.
So that would mean your plants are going to grow until the fall before they even start to flower.
Yeah, fuck that. I'm gonna have to have an auto flowering. I can't. I do such high intensity rotations, that of like crops to be able to feed my family from the land and feed my friends and stuff. I do such high rotation that I can't just have like half the greenhouse taken over by fucking weed for an entire season or like an entire year. Because by the fall here, I'm talking like late November. So I can't have something just keep pumping out vegetation that's useless until for the next like 9 months.
Right. So autoflower sounds like the way, and you can always get more seeds if you need them. If you need to grow more.
Well, I want to do. This sounds like something fun to trade. Sounds like something fun to do. Yeah.
Yeah.
This is a whole new world. But yeah, I like it. I like it a lot.
Man,
I do.
I'm going down memory lane with my pictures here. I'm still going through all my old pictures, by the way. Oh shit! I forgot about that.
What'd you do?
Well, you know how you guys are always snake guys.
Yep.
Yeah. And I'm always telling you, reptiles are gross. There was a time.
Cats are gross.
There was a time in my life when I had a reptile pet.
What was her name?
Was it a lizard?
Was it a lot lizard?
FAFO pics right there, bro.
Okay. Let's see here. Oh, bearded dragon.
Oh, I love bearded dragons.
They're great. Yeah. They're big scaly puppies.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They require fucking weird lighting. You need to have the UV lighting or they fucking die off. But they didn't know that until like the last 10 years. And they've been selling them for fucking ever.
You can get away with it if you dust their crickets. You can get away with not having to have the crazy
with the calcium fucking shit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The gut loaded worms and stuff. Yeah.
You can get away with just like a regular like UV light without having to get all the bee strain and all the other crazy shit that's going on.
Yeah, I didn't have anything fancy like that.
But I had one that was probably about a quarter smaller. That was a pretty fucking good sized beast. And mine was just a small little male, but you'd pick him up and he'd just like go limp, and you could just like hook him onto whatever you want, like your clothes, and he'd just fucking sit there like he was a corsage or a decoration. He'd just ride around on you all fucking day. But he was super cool. Super cool. He ate lots of bugs and lots of
it was one of those my daughter had to have him, but you know who ended up taking care of him kind of a thing.
Yeah.
That's all her pets. I think she should not be allowed to buy any more pets.
Right? Oh, now she wants me to build her a chicken coop. The same daughter, by the way.
Oh, I'm clearing out the land underneath the trees, the big trees in the back. with that really thick brush, like that to do our chicken coop back in there underneath the big trees for extra shade for them. By big trees, I mean mesquite trees that are like 60 fucking foot tall and like 60 feet wide, like oak trees. They're amazingly huge. And I'm clearing it out to be able to build it because my wife doesn't want a chicken coop. All right. No, she wants the bougiest fucking chicken coop known to goddamn man.
You get the one that you can move around on wheels so you can do your
no.
A chicken tractor?
No, not a chicken tractor, sir. I've been sent pictures of the one that she wants. I'm gonna throw a picture up here in just a second. And it's like, okay, by the time I'm done building that motherfucker and everything, these goddamn chickens, I'd be better shitting fucking golden eggs. All right, because this thing's probably going to cost me like probably $7,000 to $10,000 a fucking build. Look at this goddamn thing. I put up in a podcast page.
Fuck that!
Look at that thing.
You need to double that size of that. Double the size easily.
That's just their like their sleepy time house, and they're like during the daytime they'll have an automatic chicken door at the end of the run that they'll be able to come out and stuff. But she's like, I want a little herb bed around the chickens. I was like, okay, the chickens are going to get out and then immediately eat all the fucking herbs and like scratch everything up. Like you've had chickens before, sweetheart. They just destroy everything. But it's going to be so cool. I'm like, no, you're going to have one good Instagram picture and you better hold on to that fucking picture because they're going to destroy that herb bed. But that's what she wants. So that's what she's going to fucking get. She's going to get her fancy chicken house.
Like what wifey wants, wifey gets.
Yeah. It's easier to just build it. Then later buy a boat in retaliation, you know?
Yeah.
I sold my boat not too long ago. See, I have too many hobbies.
I want a boat because I want to be able to take out my daughter, go fishing. And we've got a lot of really good fishing around here where there's a lot of like crappie and bass and redfish, the freshwater, not only the freshwater ones, but like down in the ocean, going out there. I'm tired of having to borrow people's boats and being at their whim. Now, I've had friends who I can borrow their boats and they're like, oh yeah, cool, no problem, bro. You know, just fill it back up and whatever, you know, and it's never been a problem, but it's like still like, sometimes I ask them, oh man, no, me and the fam got something, you know, going on. So I don't need anything fancy. I just want like, you know, like an 18-foot John boat, you know, with a center console kind, you know, just so I have places for me, the wife, couple, like the kiddo, and if I want to bring a friend or something, and go out and go fishing. But there's a lot of really cool fishing around here. But I think it's probably one of those things that I'll get and I won't use as much as I think I'm going to use. But yeah. All right, back on topic for the marijuana. If you're going to grow it in the ground, is there any special ground prep you need to do?
Make sure there's not too much clay, not too much fucking stone.
If you're growing it in an illegal area outside, be careful with watering and fertilizing because it will put off a different heat signature, and that's how they used to find the.
You can't. The thing is you can't. If you're doing it outside like that, you can't have them in groups bigger than 3.
Right, and don't put them in like straight lines and stuff that patterns like humans can see in their head. Put it random patterns.
Yeah. Do they do better with like a nurse tree, or do they do better like out in the open by themselves?
No. If a weed will grow, weed will grow.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because I know peppers do better with like underneath like the dappled shade of the tree.
You got to remember the weed trees that you're going to be growing outside are fucking going to be 8-10 feet tall. Weed plants aren't small, and you want them to have as much sun as possible.
You just said the fucking deer would eat my goddamn weed tree.
I've had it happen to me.
Absolutely. But you do the same thing that you would do with a fucking tomato plant. You put the fucking ring thing around there. You keep it safe until it gets tall enough, and then you put a fence around it.
I don't know if this works or not, but I've heard stories that you can go to like a barber shop and have them sweep up like hair off the floor.
Hair works. Human hair, yes.
Yeah, and deer do not like it. You sprinkle it around the area.
Well, I usually let the dog like poop around the area, and then I
Yeah, it's a
I
natural
go out
animal.
there.
It's not gonna bother them. It's but
I go out
you
there and like
there.
pee like around the garden area, and that usually keeps out most of the deer. But also like I check at night, like every time I get up go to the bathroom, I shine a spotlight out in my garden. If there's a deer out there, I'm not above tagging it with the paintball gun.
Mm-hmm.
There's been many multicolored deer running around, which I've hit with like 7 or 8 fucking paintballs because the thing's like fully automatic if you hold down the trigger. And yeah, fuck you, deers. I've had a problem with sunflowers. They like to go like as soon as the fucking sunflower starts to put on the head, and right before the fucking head opens up to bloom, they come and they eat the fucking heads off all the goddamn sunflowers.
No, the easiest thing with deer, man, is to put up a fence, and you don't want a fence that people can see because then people will come get your weed. They won't. If they come through, they're like hiking through the woods and they find your shit. They won't. They're not going to take it now because it's no good, but they will remind themselves to come to your house in November. I've seen it.
I don't think it would be very wise for random people to come walking through my
Dude,
area.
you say that, but you have no idea how fucking people will fucking do that kind of shit easily.
Everything I've been trimming, like all of the trees and all the big cactus pieces and stuff, I've been lining the edge of my property with them to make like a hedge. And I've got, it's probably 6 foot fucking tall and almost like, now it's almost 400 yards long of just cactus, spiky shit, fucking, like the deer don't come through there anymore. They won't even jump over it because it's probably like 30, 40 feet wide. But the idea was to keep, because for a while, people on their 4-wheelers were zipping across from the property way down at the end, probably a half mile away, along this old like power line road and going right through my freaking property, and I didn't like it. So I was like, okay, well, I'm just going to start building a hedge of all the trimmed tree pieces, and it seems to be working. They haven't came through there again. They get to it and they stop and they turn around and go back. So
good deal. I have a little bit of property. I had a bunch of crackheads coming through it. I took a bulldozer and dug the fucking road up and made a mountain on the other side of the hole. That slowed them down a bit.
If I had a bunch of crackheads, I have so many deer cams out. Like I've got.
That's how I found out they were coming back there. I mean, it looked like a highway on a freaking old trail that's not even a road.
I got about a dozen deer cams out that I just have because I like looking at the wildlife and like seeing how many quail, how many are coming to the water that I put out, how many turkeys, stuff like that. I like looking at the animals. So, but I have so many of them out, like on game trails and shit. I've never seen another. I see occasionally stray dogs, lots of coyotes and shit, but I've never seen another person over here. It's just I'm really kind of like there's not really anybody around me except for that one family like a half mile away, and that's going to be about the closest people I have to me is about a half mile. So I'm not super worried about the whole like weed smelling in the greenhouse because the greenhouse is open. I mean it's 90% open. Basically,
honestly, nowadays the cops aren't even really looking for it most of the time. I mean,
I'm not worried.
I'm not large amounts,
Yeah, I'm not worried about the police. Nobody really gives a shit anymore. You can't even get them to you can't even get them to arrest. Like, we show up to a house and there's like a huge amount of marijuana, like a fucking bucket full, and they're sitting there and dividing it up and putting it in fucking bags. Because then somebody's OD'd on heroin in the fucking bathroom. We show up, but they don't give a shit about the fucking weed. They're like, oh, that's cool. What's your name again? Oh, yeah, cool. They're probably just looking at where they could score it again for themselves. But they're more worried about the heroin guy and where he got the heroin at. They don't really give a shit about weed. We can't even get them to fucking ticket those people because they're like, oh, it'll just get thrown out in court.
Yeah, in and out now. They don't even hardly prosecute it anymore in most places. Yeah, which is a good thing. I think weed should be legal and liquor should be more illegal.
No, don't you dare fuck with my alcohol, goddammit.
I'm sorry.
I like making my fucking alcohol. I want everything to be...
I enjoy it too, but damn it. Hey, making it still illegal anyway. Yeah. Everybody thinks it's not, but it is.
Well, in Texas,
Because you're not making alcohol, you're making hand sanitizer.
All right. When it comes to the distilling laws in Texas, it's perfectly legal to make it for your own use. However, it's still illegal federally. So it's kind of looked at like that whole like weed is illegal federally, but it's legal, so nobody fucks with you as long as you're not selling like mass quantities of it. Funny story is I gave some of my whiskey to a friend of mine, and I didn't know that his son is on like the sheriff's department. And
so he wanted some too.
No, so he's like, well, I don't really. He didn't tell me at the time that he doesn't really drink. I was like, so the next next time I saw him was probably about a week later. Like, hey man, how'd you like that whiskey? He's like, well, I don't really drink, so I gave it to my son. I was like, oh, okay, well, how do you like it? He had a bunch of his friends over and he fucking loved it. I didn't know that was him until this last shift when I was on fucking duty and I had to go to that city to go to help out. And they were like, oh, hey, dude, you're the guy with the whiskey. And I'm like, so I've got like 6 cops, like, and like 2 freaking.
That's a negative threat or whiskey.
I was like, I will not like confirm or deny that. And then like, so all these other cops were, because it was a big car wreck. So we called for mutual aid. And all these other cops were like, hey man, can I get some too? It's going to be my like quinceañera, my kid's quinceañera coming up. I was like, I could give you like a bottle, bro. Just stop by and I'll give you a bottle. Like, it's like everybody at this point, everybody fucking knows.
In the room while I was making it before in the past.
Yeah.
It's not a big deal.
Nobody really cares unless you're just like, I like making stuff for my own consumption or just enough to share with friends. I'm not the biggest producer in the fucking world. I'm not going out there and I'm not growing. I'm not going to go out there and grow 200 pounds of marijuana. I want to grow enough for my fucking wife. Like, just so that my wife could.
How we always say mushrooms aren't a cash crop? Liquor's even more of not a cash crop, honestly.
Not a cash crop at all.
No.
And definitely not fucking mushrooms. And not weed nowadays either.
I don't know what is. I mean, I'd like to find out what is a cash crop, but
gold.
Yeah, right.
I can't grow that. Damn it.
I want to go to Alaska. I'd be one of those motherfuckers sitting there in a fucking tent, making a cabin half a day, and then fucking digging dirt. I got no problem with that.
Here's how you farm gold. There are a lot of homeless people out there who've had decent tooth care at some point in their life. Yeah. So you just buy them off of them. You'd be like, hey, I'll give you $20 for that tooth. So that's how it works. Don't do anything. That was terrible advice. Don't do that, guys. That's going to be another step on your yellow brick road to hell. If you follow my advice. I'm a terrible human being. This has been a pretty fun episode. Okay, so go over cloning for me real quick. So like somebody that's gonna do, you can't clone autoflowers, right? Because they've already genetically been like once they start growing,
the biological clock has already started. So once it goes,
I mean they can theoretically be cloned. It's just not recommended.
You're not going to get a good harvest. I mean, you'll still get a harvest, but remember they have stages that I don't know. I would say not to do it because you're wasting.
Yeah, you're better off not. Autoflowers are one and done for the most part.
Because then the original plant that you cloned from, it's going to take a few days to recuperate before it starts growing again.
And then those ones that are like smaller in size, those are hybrid ones, right? They're the indica.
No. Well, indica is a natural small one, and sativa is naturally giant. And you have hybrids between the two, so they're more indica, more sativa, depending on the size. So there's every range of the rainbow in between.
All right. When it comes to cloning, all you're doing is you're looking for branches, and because you're gonna thin it out, you got a mother plant, so you want to make sure it's nice and good. You're gonna go down 2 nodes.
I was gonna say you need at least 2 nodes for a clone,
and then you cut it right above the next node. And then you cut it at an angle. And then you go ahead and you use a razor blade. It's the best thing because you don't want to crush it. You want to have a nice clean cut so that all the tubes are nice and open. And then you put it in a glass of water. That's what I do. And then when I have them all done, because you can take a lot of clones of mother plant, and it'll be just fine. And then you go ahead and you can use a cloning powder or
Hormone,
cloning
yeah.
gel.
Rooting hormone. Yep.
Or you can even use fucking honey. You fucking put that in there, and then basically you put that fucking clone that you've just cut, and you put it in a not steel wool. What is it? Fucking goddamn it.
Rock wool.
Rock wool.
Rock wool. Sorry, I couldn't think of it. And you put it in there, and you keep it damp, and you cut the leaves off. Not all the way off. You cut the ends off because they're not using that.
I usually I cut half of my leaves off. I leave half of them together. That's just my personal way of doing it.
Yeah,
I leave a little bit of leaf for a photo period, but not. It doesn't need full amount of leaves anymore as a clone.
Yeah, but I put my clones in a dome underneath light 24/7, and they will stay in that dome until their roots start coming out of the fucking block. And once that happens, then it's time to go either in the fucking pot, or it's time to go in the clay fucking marbles.
Hydrotron.
Yeah, or that if you're using that. I always found that to be way. I've set up hydro
I use river pebbles, honestly. I use river pebbles.
I've used the little pebbles before that I bought from Home Depot. I just rinsed them real good beforehand.
Exactly.
All the dirt.
Why did I use pebbles? Because they're better? No, because they're cheap.
Cheap.
That's why I use them.
The big bag of Hydrotron, I got it for. I think I paid $50 for it, but it was like
I can't get it
or whatever. But like a big ass fucking like 1 cubic foot bag of freaking river pebbles at Home Depot was like $9. So that's what I used.
Yeah, me personally, I can't even get hydrogen. Not in large quantities anyway, unless I order it off the internet. But and the rooting hormone, if anybody's curious, you can go to the gardening section in Walmart and buy it. It's in a little jar right in the gardening section. Rooting hormone. You can't miss it. It's super simple.
Yeah,
it's every garden center in the world has it.
It's right next to that gimmicky Thrive shit.
Yeah.
It's like
I think the most common brand is like Root Tone or something like that.
Yeah, Root Tone. That was the name I was looking for.
I don't know. I've had my jar for about 10 years.
Yeah. And there's gel kind now and there's powder kind now, whichever one you like the best.
They say that you should take it out and then do it.
Yeah, to keep from contaminating.
Yeah, but I've been dipping my shit in that fucking jar for 10 fucking years.
And the reason you put your clippings in water as you harvest them,
air bubbles.
You don't want you don't want to like take a syringe and get an air bubble. It'll airlock the plant and it won't be able to uptake the water.
Yeah. Same thing I do with like when I'm cloning roses.
Right. Dude, I mean, cloning plants, it's the same across the board. I mean, 90% of the time. I mean, you could do when it comes to that cloning shit. People think it's hard, like cloning mushrooms. You fucking rip it open, you take out a fucking piece, you put it on the... Dude, I don't even go as far now to put it on agar. If I've already got something in long-term storage and I've got a fruit, I will open that thing up and I will cut a strip out and throw it in a jar of fucking grain. And it's just as good.
Plants are just stupid easy. I'm sorry. I mean, God. I remember as a kid in our backyard, we had a tree. I don't even know what kind of base tree was. It grew 3 different kinds of apples, 3 different kinds of pears, and oranges on one tree. Because my dad grafted all the different branches onto that thing when it was little. I mean, it was just a little hobby that he had. I mean, it's amazing how versatile plants are.
This is, I put up in podcast pics how I clone the figs for aeroponics. Is that I bought, I guess it's like that pipe wrap stuff. It fit the little cloner, like I guess high density polyethylene fucking little discs they had were like $1 a piece, and I was like, fuck that shit. So I just bought some of that pipe wrap, and I put it around the part that I was going to clone, and
you can just
chuck it down in my little aeroponics system. And it works. It worked really well. I cloned the shit out of fig trees.
I've even cut circles out of that packing foam like computers come in.
Yeah.
Cut a slit halfway through it and stick a stem through it. I've done that before. I mean, it's something as long as it holds the stem, that's all you really need. It works.
Yeah, I cloned a shitload of figs. I think I have a 96 cell cloner. And it
Nice.
just runs off a little pond pump and it just sprays up off the bottom.
Oh,
And
beautiful.
then,
Arrow cloner. Yep.
an arrow cloner. I use it. I've used it for cloning fruit trees and fucking just vegetables for the longest time. But I think it's probably going to end up cloning some marijuana. Probably end up cloning what it was originally built for.
Right. That's what a lot. Marijuana cultivation has given us so many advancements in gardening over the years.
I believe you. I believe you.
It's like everything. It's like porn with everything else.
Yeah, it's like all your hydroponics and stuff were all developed for growing marijuana originally. I mean, that was like the ultimate goal for most of them because it was the cash crop. It was the original cash crop.
Nice.
And now we got a lot of things to this day because of it. A lot of your genetics in how to do genetics with plants was derived from backyard scientists doing genetics with mushroom or marijuana. Sorry, got mushrooms on the brain. I'm thinking about doing mushrooms again soon.
Yeah,
I had a bad experience a few months ago and I haven't. I had a bad experience a few months ago and I haven't touched them since. I need to get back on the pony.
Wait, what?
Yeah.
Huh?
You mean taking them?
Yeah.
Oh, I thought you meant growing them.
No. Eating them. I went way overboard. I don't know if you guys noticed or not, but I've been going a little crazy with the psychedelics lately.
What?
No,
I might have gone a little too far with the mushrooms.
No, we were just talking about. Hey, is Trimmy gonna kill himself accidentally?
Let's just call it a midlife crisis, okay?
He's gonna be perma-fried, and then we're gonna be like, hey, where's Trimmy? He's like, I don't put that in my colors. I can taste the rainbow.
I've tasted the rainbow multiple times. I licked it in the vagina.
I'm glad that you have decided not to die.
I haven't decided that yet.
It's still on the table.
I've certainly lost my fear of death. I'll leave it at that.
Yeah, let's not keep pushing the fucking limits, little buddy. Because
it's okay not to be scared, but don't fucking rush it here. Huh?
Yeah.
No, I'm not. Looking to die or anything. I just been wanting to explore the possibilities of the universe a little bit while I'm still young enough to enjoy it.
Aren't you like 50 years old?
Not yet, but I will be soon. 50, dude. That's halfway, man. If I have a good life.
Oh, hey, maybe if I start growing and do a grow of marijuana, my wife will finally use her fucking Levo thing that's just gathering fucking dust.
Is it in her night table? I don't know what this is. A Levo?
The Levo, the one that makes concentrates.
You said you tried that shit and it fucking blew up.
Oh, I thought it made something too strong or something.
Oh yeah, no, it did. It did when she did it, but
I'm not familiar with that device at all, so that'd be your territory.
They can use those for tinctures and everything else. It's pretty nice.
Oh yeah,
cool. Yeah. I went a little crazy with the mushrooms. Sorry, guys. I the next time I do them, I'm gonna go back to my old way of doing them. That wasn't quite so intense.
Well, dude, I had a bar from Ginevra.
No more boofing them.
It was 8 grams of ape. And
oh my god!
I was only planning on doing a couple just to fucking, have some fun.
8 grams a lot, dude.
But then I was like, you know what? It's chocolate. It's got chocolate bar sitting next to me. I was like,
right.
And then 30 seconds later, I realized I ate the whole chocolate bar, and I immediately regretted my decision. And then, I told you guys
8 grams.
I was fucking talking to the fucking YouTube. I was watching fucking comic books and pew pew pew. The television going pew pew back at me, and I was like, "Oh shit, I'm under fire!"
Yeah,
great. I was getting twitches.
I only did 2 grams, bro. I only did 2 grams.
Yeah,
it didn't hurt me, but I did it with Harmala, so
yeah,
that was a little more than I bargained for. Harmala and mushrooms are quite powerful together. Be careful if anybody's out there listening.
I imagine.
I literally had full-on hallucinations like Deadpool did with 8 grams on 2 grams. I couldn't even type. I was trying to type, and the keyboard was like the keys were expanding and contracting, and there's like 5,000 keys down to 2 keys, and it was crazy.
Yeah, you're doing binary. Yeah, 1 0 0 1
1 0 1 1 1 0 1 1 like benders going through time. Yeah, 0 1 1 1 0 1 1. Oh my god, kitty cats.
Fucking cats, dude. They're the devil's fleshlight. We still love you, Sleepy, but this is your craziest get rich quick scheme you've ever got. Fucking.
I've got to put him one. I found a gift for him. Hold on. General. Here we go. Paste.
Yeah. So many cats. Jesus Christ. That's what's going to happen. He's going to end up with 75 fucking cats, and then he's going to be responsible to selling them, and then she gets half the money of whatever he sells them for.
Yeah, for $1. Do they come with a free burlap sack? I didn't say that. I apologize. That was a joke, everyone out there.
They come with the free snake bag.
Yeah.
But whoever posted that last week.
No, I love other people's cats. I do not want to own my own. My daughter got around the no cat rule by her, and she works for my sister-in-law. It's a strange thing. They got cats for their offices, baby kittens. I don't understand how this shit works. Well, I have to bring my cat home for a few days because I got it fixed and it's got to heal. She brought it in, and immediately her dogs tried to eat it. And she's all upset. I was like, well, yeah. That's why we're not cat people. We're dog people.
It's not really healing now. Now it has to heal more.
Yep. Yeah, she's all upset. She thought she was going to sneak it home and everything's going to be fine and dandy. Yeah, it didn't work. Nope.
We should do an episode later on about extracts and making like weed gummies and weed edibles and shit like that.
That would be an interesting one. I'm not
the same exact thing as
what
we did with the extract for fucking mycology. It's the same exact thing.
Real similar. I mean, there's a lot of more ways you can extract weed because you can do the hydraulic press method. You can do butane extraction. What else is there? I think there's a freeze drying way of extracting, isn't there?
Well, you process the extract in the freeze dry, and it makes like it looks like clear hard candy.
Yeah, shatter. I think they call it.
Yeah, that's what I was looking for. The word.
It's real similar to mushroom extracts, but there's a few different styles, I guess we'll call it, to get to the same point. But mainly, you're just extracting the terpenes out of it. Cool. I'm talking about all the tryptamines and the active ingredients. I'm just using terpenes as a general term for anybody who's trying to correct me.
Very cool. I feel like we've covered a pretty good amount. You guys definitely got me excited to give something a try.
We haven't even talked about topping, lollipopping.
Well, talk to me about that.
I think Deadpool should enlighten us.
Yes, talk to me about what the hell.
We got okay, here's our scenario for you, Deadpool. We got our weed plants growing. They're getting up there. They're ready to start. I guess we'll call it training. Yeah.
Let's say
what's your recommended method?
5 or 6 feet tall.
Well, there's you don't start training like that. You start training them like when they're about 6-7 inches tall. But
I don't know what the fuck.
After you top it, every time. Okay, here's what the topping. You're gonna take you're taking off new growth above the node, which then the plant will grow 2 in space of that 1.
Okay.
So now you're gonna have 2 main stalks coming off instead of just 1, which means 2 buds. Now you can also top those 2 once they grow a couple nodes, which will allow you now to have 4. Now they also have, some people like to do 8, or they do what they call a 6-shooter. But once you get your tops the way you want them, all right, Now, there's ways to do it. There's aggressive, and then there's a non-aggressive way. You can actually pinch the plant and bend it. Pinch it and bend it and twist it, and then push it over. And then the plant will heal where you leave it. All right. Now, that's aggressive, obviously. And then the non-aggressive way is you can do it a couple ways. They have the a stake where you bend it slowly to where you want it to start going. And then you put the stakes in to hold it in place. And then it's going to grow out and up because it's still trying to get to the sun. So you're open. What you want to do is open the center of the plant so you get more sunlight onto more leaves, which means more fucking nutrition for the buds.
You're trying to make it into a bush, right?
Yes. Now, well, that with one plant, you can easily take one plant and fill a 4x4 tent, maybe even a 5x5 tent. With that, you use a sea of green, a scog. It's a net, and you're basically pushing. Scrog, whatever. Yeah. And but you're gonna keep pushing it over and out, and then they're gonna go up through that net, and then you're gonna do a 6, and then as they come up, you're gonna keep pushing it out, and you can
anytime it sends up a riser, you fold it over and stick it back under the net, so it goes out sideways instead of up.
And then
a natural marijuana plant will try to grow one singular big giant bud right in the middle. They call it a cola, and you're trying to get one plant to grow multiple of those.
Okay.
Now,
and then
with an autoflower, you got to be less aggressive in your training.
Well, you can't even
because you have less time.
Yeah, I was gonna say, well, you can't even really be aggressive because if you're topping it.
Yeah, you could do like one top, maybe 2. I wouldn't recommend any more than that with an autoflower.
Yeah, I wouldn't do any. Only because
and you could not do any. That's also an option.
I mean, only because if you don't do any, you're still everything's gonna go into that one cola. So you're gonna get one cola the size of your fucking forearm.
Right.
Maybe not with an autoflower, but I mean, you're still gonna get one bigger cola or 2 smaller colas. Depends on what you want. You know, but it all comes down to how you take care of the plant. And like I was talking about the lollipopping, that's getting rid of all the leaves.
They call them sugar leaves, the big wasteful leaves at the bottom that
they're underneath. They're not getting any sun. They're being shaded. They're being shaded by the colas. They're being shaded by other leaves. So
just like with tomatoes, you just get rid of them so they don't get moldy.
Yes.
No mold, and they don't drain resources from the rest of the plant.
Yeah, and and lets the air circulation really get in there to stop the mold and everything you guys were just talking about. But
on tomatoes, you want to grow fruit, not foliage. So you remove a whole bunch of the leaves.
Yeah,
I mean, you could actually take a plant and take all the leaves off except for like 10. You know, each. I mean, I don't want to say that like just give you a number. It's just, but. You can really fucking
you can clean them up, and the more sunlight gets down lower, there's smaller bud sites that are lower will still produce smaller buds for you. You'll have more product in the end.
Okay, so it really fucking is like growing tomatoes.
It's so similar, yeah. Like I said, close your eyes and pretend like it's a potato or tomato plant, and you'll be close.
Yeah, that's pretty much the fucking exact same goddamn shit I do with freaking tomato plants. Is I remove all the fucking leaves except for like the top 1/4 of the fucking plant, and then as those get big and annoying, I remove those motherfuckers too.
Yes, a lot of people do selective trimming in there to thin out the canopy to get light to penetrate deeper into the canopy. Yes.
Yeah, because you want to get the light on. Once it starts fruiting from the fucking bottom up.
Right.
And then you start like you the fruit itself is able to absorb, like do photosynthesis, and the stalks themselves can do photosynthesis. So you don't fucking worry about that shit.
Yeah. And in general, probably 70% of what we call fan leaves, the one that you see the picture of when you think of marijuana, the big giant hand sites, 70% of those are unnecessary, honestly.
Now, do they have a use?
Not really.
Not that early in the grow. There's no There's no THC. There's
Yeah,
no nothing on them.
when you're at harvest time, like that picture I posted in podcast pics. If you look, it was just starting to produce the little. There's like little. They look like little mushrooms under a microscope with THC in them. They will get on some of the leaves and they'll get shiny. Those leaves do have THC in them. You can process those. Anything with those little tiny balls on them, and when the ball starts out clear, and then when it starts to get some color to that ball, that's when you know it's getting close to being ready to harvest. Also, they'll get cloudy and.
So when they look like they've been frosted a little bit.
Yeah, the frost is what you're looking for. That's your good stuff. That's what gets you your high.
You want like 10 to 15 that start when they start to turn amber.
Yeah. Yeah, if you zoom in on that picture I showed with bigger, you'll see all them little dots. Those are all little nodules that contain THC.
Okay. All right. Well, that's super helpful.
Yeah.
Excellent.
They're called trichomes, in case anybody's wondering for the exact name of them.
Nice. I feel like I've learned quite a bit.
And that's a really small bud in that picture, but it's it was just forming. So yeah. I was proud of it.
Now, how do you know when to harvest?
When the trichome starts turning amber, what did you say? 70% of them, Deadpool?
15%.
15%.
50% are amber. The red, then it's gonna be like 60% are be translucent, and then the rest are clear. That's when you do it.
A lot of growers actually like carry a jeweler's loop, and they'll put it on their eye and look at the trichomes really closely, and so you can see inside of them. When it gets close to that time, then you'll know. Or when the you'll see those white hairs on the buds.
Yeah,
those will start to like shrivel back a little bit when it's getting close to harvest time too.
Okay. All right.
Yeah,
that's pretty cool. I feel confident enough to FAFO the shit out of this.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it shouldn't be that difficult. I don't know why everybody's not just doing a little like secret grow or hidden grow.
Everybody is.
You'd be surprised.
Maybe I'm the last motherfucker, and everybody is laughing at me on the podcast, like, you haven't grown any fucking weed.
Well, that was going to be my first question because I've never heard you talk about it.
Right? Yeah.
And I'll do my first thing, because I know Jeremy has allegedly grown some. I know I've allegedly grown some.
I don't even smoke weed and I grow it. That's the sad
exactly.
part.
I didn't. Yeah, no. Like my old girlfriend, she used to work at a donut shop, right? So that was the only time I'd ever smoked weed. And I gained like 30 pounds because she would bring home fucking peanut butter frosting donuts and weed, and I was like, "Fuck, yeah, let's get this done."
Challenge accepted.
Yes, 1 dozen of donuts later.
Isn't that strange though, when you're just all fucked up and you're like, God damn, this is the best saltine I've ever eaten in my fucking life.
Yeah. Is this a Ritz? You sure it's not a Ritz?
Oh, good times.
No, I've nope, never done. I've eaten edibles occasionally, but
I was
with my job,
I was 16 years old before I ever even tried weed the first time.
Now my wife, she smokes a lot of weed, but her job doesn't give a shit, and like 90% of the people at her fucking job smoke weed. When they came to America, they were like, "Hey, you got to hook up." So it was like, it's nobody cares. It's really only America that really gives a shit anymore.
Yeah,
and that's slowly changing.
Yep.
That's because we're slowly becoming Chinese.
Yeah, I don't know if you guys know this, but I was raised in northern Florida, and
that's not a real place.
But my father was originally from Michigan, right? So we went up there to visit my family in Michigan when I was 16, and my aunt gave my cousin a bunch of money and said, take him out and have a good time. So his idea was grab some weed. And I tried weed for the first time. And I was the kid that was scared to talk to anyone. I was like scared of my own shadow as a kid. I got on that shit and I crawled through the window of McDonald's drive-thru trying to get the girl's number that worked in there. It made me come out of my shell. We'll say. Good times.
That's awesome. Good times.
Then you got to do the walk of shame when you get home and try and act like you're not fucked up when you walk by your parents. That's great.
Like I've done, I've done the edible gummies and shit like that, and they were quite enjoyable. But the one time I tried to smoke weed. Oh god, this was.
Oh, by the way, I got the number. Okay.
Oh, nice. I'm trying to think. This is probably 15 to 17 years ago. I had a friend who was a pretty good. She was a female, and she was a pretty good pothead. She's like, "Come over and we'll barbecue and hang out." But she was a friend. We weren't the type. She was not attractive, and so definitely not the type we were gonna do anything. So I hang out. We barbecue. We have a great time. And she's like, "I want to smoke some weed and let's watch this movie." And I was like, "Okay." No, it was. I don't even remember. It was a fucking Disney movie, and she's like, "You should try it. Just take a hit." Well. Like the last time I smoked weed was when I was a fucking kid, and we did you had to really take a big hit to get fucked up, right? Like to feel anything, because it was like ditch weed from Mexico. So I hit her a little fucking pipe, and she's like, "That was a lot." And I was like, "What?" And she's like, "You better sit down." And then I just was gone, and I didn't realize that we'd watched the movie twice. And I was laughing at the end of it, and then she was like, "We watched that movie twice." I was like, "What time is it?" She's like, "It's like 2:30 in the morning." I was like, "The last thing I remember, it was like 10 p.m. Like, what happened?" She's
Dude,
like,
I did that one time, and we watched Superbad like fucking 8 times from when we started partying till we fucking decided that we were fucking sober enough to leave. And I think it's because nobody wanted to get up off the fucking couch and change the fucking channel. So we watched Superbad on fucking repeat. It was crazy.
Oh man, my head was so heavy I couldn't hold it up. It was wobbly as fuck. I was totally couch locked, hard. That's when I realized that while I was out, she had dyed my hair black. That was great. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
I was like, I don't look good with black hair. Thanks. That was great.
Well,
maybe you could shower it out. I was like,
add some pink.
No, you couldn't shower it out. You couldn't shower it out. It took a long fucking time for that shit to go away. Because she was like a hairdresser, but she was like a hairdresser for punk ass people, the one and I had this glorious mane of fucking hair that was down to my ass. And she's like, "It'd look really good if you dyed it." And I was like, "No, leave it alone," because it's all dyed from the sun. It was gold and brown and everything. And she's like, "I'm gonna color it for you." Evidently, I was so fucked up I didn't realize that she colored it. And yeah, it took a long. She even did my eyebrows. My eyebrows were black on my face, and I have a white ass face. It did not look good. It was weird. My goatee was dark black. I look like something that fucking that German rock singer band fucking threw up. Disturbed. I look like something Disturbed threw up. It was not cool.
Sounds horrible.
Yeah. It was bad.
Awesome.
It was really bad. It was really ugly. That became 2 months of hiding at home on the farm before I became human again. Anyway, does anybody else have anything to add to this fun little fucking conversation, or anything good to say, any news, anything like that? What do we got here? Usually Trimmy has something nice to say to people.
I hadn't really thought about it tonight. Something nice. You think spring?
Or just some sort of cultivation-y type.
Yeah, I have something nice. Spring is here in the United States anyway. Get outside, take a walk, enjoy nature, watch a sunset or a sunrise. Think about how pretty things are once in a while.
Yeah, it's
Okay.
pretty. Yeah.
That's about all I got.
Beautiful. See, that was inspiring. And then we're gonna go to Deadpool. What do you got, Deadpool?
I don't know.
Don't
You're
smoke
growing
crack.
mushrooms. Feed your friends mushrooms. Not like Aaron Patterson, who feeds them poisonous mushrooms. Feed them edible mushrooms.
Yeah, or the mushrooms that maybe gets them a little bit high. But don't surprise that shit. Don't surprise people.
Don't ruin my shit, Pharaoh. I know what I
said. Don't surprise people with animals. But like, don't be sitting there watching them. How's the spaghetti? Feel anything yet? You know, because that's going to result in a bad trip. Like, what do you mean feel anything yet? Did you put poison in here? What the fuck? Is that rat poison? What the fuck's going on? You know, it's like brain's going to race at 1,000,000 miles an hour. You're going to start tripping balls. Next thing you know, you try to explain shit to the police. It doesn't work out well.
That's
all right, something positive.
With backhoes.
Something positive from me.
Say hello to your family and friends. Give them hugs and kisses.
Yeah. I'm not feeling that positive. I'm mostly just really excited for this grow season. I think I'm going to definitely try growing some weed. I think that's going to be a lot of fun. I think that you definitely don't want to grow your weed and your mushrooms together from cross contamination with like trick. But I'm definitely excited and learn new things, guys. Don't be afraid to expand out and learn new things. This is completely new to me, and I'm excited as shit about it.
Never be afraid of failure.
All the people that come on the channel and ask us, what about these new ideas you have? Fucking start that shit beforehand so that you have some knowledge on your fucking shit. You know what I'm saying? Because we don't know. If it's something new, we don't know what it is.
Yeah, I get people that come on and talk to me about, well, how did you come up with this or how did you come up with that? Literally for fucking around. Literally just been like, I wonder if this will work. Yeah, and that's it. That's how discoveries are made. And that's how fun happens. Maybe you come up with the newest, greatest way and make the newest, coolest tech. Or maybe you just figure out what works for you. But don't be afraid to fail and don't be afraid to try. Like, what are you really out? Like, maybe $2 or $3 worth of material? Like, I understand when it comes to, like, marijuana seeds, which are like $10, $20 a fucking pop, that maybe experimenting is a little bit scary. But, dude, that's one meal at McDonald's these days. McDonald's is expensive as fuck. Like, everywhere's expensive. So it's like you're going to skip one fucking meal to FAFO something and have fun with it. To me, the payoff is much better and much more fun to experiment than I would ever get from just like eating a McDonald's, right? So, and there's some people out there that might be going meal to meal and might be kind of poor. Well, then follow an established tech. But from what I'm understanding, as far as like growing weed, is it's not much different than growing tomatoes. It should be really as fucking simple as goddamn growing tomatoes. And Betty fucking over there can grow goddamn tomatoes in her fucking garden, and she's got goddamn Parkinson's. So if she can grow fucking tomatoes, you can grow goddamn weed.
And another thing, let's say you are Mr. Broke Dick that ain't got no money whatsoever. You must know somebody who smokes a lot of weed, and everybody I know who smokes a lot of weed has a little baggie of seeds in a fucking drawer somewhere. They just have no idea what the genetics are. They just found a seed in their weed one day. See if them fuckers will grow.
Exactly.
Think of it as a little bag of spores. It's a fucking lottery. You never know what you're going to get.
Yep.
The worst thing that fucking happens is you can force it to flower and rock on.
Right.
Worst
thing that happens is all males and you get nothing, but still.
Whatever. It's still fun.
Well, at least you grow a plant. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's practice for when you do get really good seeds.
Anybody got anything else to say?
Yeah.
All right. Well, with that, guys, we appreciate you listening. We love our listeners. Thank you very much. This has been our weed growing episode. If you have any sort of questions, you can go ahead and find us in our Discord. The link will be below. If you'd like to support this channel, if you'd like to go ahead and give us these sort of donations, right now we basically pay for it out of our own pockets. That you can do so by sending us to the Venmo. It's going to be at FAFOCult, Or the Cash App is going to be $FAFOCult. Anything helps, guys. Like, $5, $1, whatever you want to send. We appreciate it. If you'd like to buy any sort of merch or support us that way, you can do it through our Etsy. It's going to be FAFOCult.etsy.com. If you want to send us love mail, hate mail, any sort of questions, you can do so at FAFOCult.
MichaelNutty.com.
At FAFOCult@gmail.com.
Yeah.
Yeah, we love you guys. We wish that you guys the best on your growing endeavors this coming spring when it finally thaws out enough for everybody to be able to play gardening. But now's a good time to start thinking about what you're going to do and what you're going to plan for everything. With that, guys, we love you and good night.
Right.
Peace.